Good day, everyone. My topic for today is all about factoring polynomial with common monomial factor, PCMF. For our objectives, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to determine the process of factoring using greatest common monomial factor, show appreciation in factoring, and find factors of a given polynomials. For the meantime, let's have a short review. So find the greatest common factor, GCF, of the following numbers. So we have number 1, 12 and 26. Number 2, 30 and 40. Number 3, 35 and 28. Number 4, 21 and 15. And number 5, 33 and 50. So I'll give you 5 seconds to find the answer. Okay, now let's check your work. For number 1, we have 12 is equals to 2 times 2 times 3. And 26 is equals to 2 times 13. So let's encircle the two common factor between 12 and 26, which is 2. So the answer is equals to 2. For number 2, we have 30 is equals to 2 times 5 times 3. And 40 is equals to 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. So they have two common factors, which is 2 and 5. So the answer is equals to 10. For number 3, 35 equals 5 times 7. 28 is equals to 2 times 2 times 7. So they have common factor, which is 7. So the answer is 7. For number 4, so 21 is equals to 3 times 7. 15 is equals to 3 times 5. So they have common factor, which is 3. So our answer is equals to 3. For number 5, 33 is equals to 3 times 11. 15 is equals to 3 times 5. So their common factor is 3. So our answers is equals to 3. So another one, let's have letter B. Simplify the following expressions. So let's have a short recap about multiplying monomial by a polynomial. So I'll give you 10 seconds to give me the answers. Okay, now let's check your work. So let's have number 1. So when we multiply 4x squared by 5x cubed, we will get 4 times 5 times x squared times x cubed, which is equals to 20x raised to 5. For number 2, so 5x multiplied by quantity 3x squared plus 2. So we will use the distributive property. So 5x times 3 times x squared is equals to 15x cubed. And then 5x times 2 is equals to 10x. So our answer is 15x cubed plus 10x. Number 3. So when we multiply 2xy to quantity 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. So we will use again the distributive property. So 2xy multiplied by 2x squared. So we'll have 4x cubed y. Then 2xy multiplied by 4x is equals to 8x squared y. And 2xy multiplied by negative 3, so it will give us an answer of negative 6xy. So our final answer is equals to 4x cubed y plus 8x squared y minus 6xy. For number 4, when we multiply 2x squared by quantity x cubed minus 2x squared plus 8x minus 5, it will give us an answer of 2x raised to 5 minus 4x raised to 4 plus 16x cubed minus 10x squared. So let's have the solution. So using the distributive property, you will multiply 2x squared by 2x cubed, which is equals to 2x raised to 5. 2x squared multiplied by negative 2x squared is equals to negative 4x raised to 4. 2x squared multiplied by 8x, it will give us an answer of 16x raised to 3. And 2x squared multiplied by negative 5, it will give us an answer of negative 10x squared. So the answer for number 4 is 2x raised to 5 minus 4x raised to 4 plus 16x cubed minus 10x squared. For number 5, when we multiply 2xy squared to quantity 4x plus 3y, it will give us an answer of 8x squared y squared plus 6xy cubed. So for the solution, so using the distributive property, we will multiply 2xy squared to 4x, which is equals to 8x squared y squared. And 2xy squared multiplied by 3y, it will give us an answer of 6xy cubed. So the answer for number 5 is equals to 8x squared y squared plus 6xy cubed. So you have the knowledge of finding the greatest common factor, or the GCF, and multiplying monomial by a polynomial. So we will now proceed to our topic. So let's define factoring. So when we say factoring, it is the process of finding the factors, finding what to multiply together to get an expression. That is like splitting an expression into a multiplication of simpler expressions. So common monomial factoring is the process of writing a polynomial as a product of two polynomials, one of which is a monomial that factors each term of the polynomial. So factoring out the greatest common monomial factor is the reverse of multiplying a monomial by a polynomial. So let's have an example. So when we multiply 6x to quantity 5x plus 3, it will give us an answer of 30x squared plus 18x. When we want to get the factor of 30x squared plus 18x, it will give us an answer of 6x times quantity 5x plus 3. Another one. So when we multiply 2a cubed to quantity 2a squared plus 3a plus 7, that will give us an answer of 4a raised to 5 plus 6a raised to 4 plus 14a cubed. And then when we get the factor of 4a raised to 5 plus 6a raised to 4 plus 14a raised to 3, it will give us an answer of 2a cubed times quantity 2a squared plus 3a plus 7. So remember, the product of monomial by monomial is equals to monomial. Monomial by binomial is equals to binomial. Monomial by trinomial is equals to trinomial. And monomial by polynomial is equals to polynomial. And the factor of monomial is equals to monomial by monomial. Binomial is equals to monomial by binomial. Trinomial is equals to monomial by trinomial. And polynomial is equals to monomial by polynomial. So now I will discuss to you the 3 steps in factoring polynomial with common monomial factor. So number 1, find the greatest common factor, GCF, of all terms in the polynomial. Number 2, divide the polynomial by the GCF, so the quotient is the other factor. And number 3, express the polynomial as the product of the quotient and the GCF. So let's have an examples. So let's have number 1, factor 5p plus p squared. So remember, the factor of binomial is equals to monomial times binomials. So our answer should be 1 term multiplied by 2 terms. So let's have the solution. So step 1, find the greatest common factor, GCF, of all terms in the polynomial. So we have 2 terms. The first one is 5p, which have a factor of 5 times p, and p squared, which have a factor of p times p. So let's encircle the common factor between 5p and p squared. So the GCF of 5p and p squared is equals to p. For step 2, divide the polynomial by the GCF and the quotient as the other factor. So quantity 5p plus p squared divided by p is equals to 5 plus p, where p is our GCF and 5 plus p is our quotient. If you don't know how to divide a polynomial by a monomial, you may go back to step number 1 and look for the remaining factors between 5p and p squared. And the remaining factor should be our quotient, so 5 and p. So step 3, express the polynomial as the product of the quotient and the GCF. So p times quantity 5 plus p as the factored form. So our final answer is equals to p times quantity 5 plus p. So let's have a checking if our answer is correct. So let's check if our answer is equals to 5p plus p squared. So the factored form of 5p plus p squared is p times quantity 5 plus p. So using the distributive property, we will multiply 5 by p. So it is equals to 5p and p by p, which is equals to p squared. So our answer is 5p plus p squared. So they are the same. So it is correct. So let's have number 2. Factor 12x squared y minus 18y. So another binomial. So meaning our answer should be equals to 1 term times quantity 2 terms. So let's have the solution. So step 1, find the greatest common factor, GCF, of all terms in the polynomial. Since we have 2 terms, we need to get the factors of 12x squared y and negative 18y. So 12x squared y is equals to 2 times 2 times 3 times x times y. And 18y is equals to 2 times 3 times 3 times y. Then we will encircle all the common factors between 12x squared y and 18y. So we have 3 common factors between them. So meaning 2 times 3 times y. So the GCF is equals to 6y. So step 2, divide the polynomial by the GCF and the quotient is the other factor. So quantity 12x squared y minus 18y divided by 6y is equals to 2x squared minus 3. So 2x squared minus 3 is our quotient. So again, if you don't know how to divide a given polynomial by a monomial, you may go back to step number 1 and get the remaining factors of the given binomial. So step number 3, express the polynomial as the product of the quotient and the GCF. So it should be 6y times quantity 2x squared minus 3. So it is the factor form of the given binomial. So the final answer is 6y times quantity 2x squared minus 3. So let's have the checking. 12x squared y minus 18y has a factor form of 6y times quantity 2x squared minus 3. So let's check if 6y times quantity 2x squared minus 3 is equals to 12x squared y minus 18y. So using the distributive property, we will multiply 6y to 2x squared and 6y to negative 3. So 6y times 2x squared is equals to 12x squared y, and 6y multiplied by negative 3 is equals to negative 18y. So our answer is correct. Okay, number 3. Factor 28x squared y raised to the 6 plus 63x squared y raised to the 4th z squared. So we have another binomial. So for the solution, so step 1, find the greatest common factor, GCF, of all terms in the polynomial. So we will get the factors of 28x squared y raised to 6 and 63x squared y raised to 4 z squared. So 28x squared y raised to 6 is equals to 2 times 2 times 7 times x times x times y times y times y times y times y times y. And 63x squared y raised to the 4th z squared is equals to 3 times 3 times 7 times x times x times y times y times y times y times z times z. So encircle all the common factors between them. So their common factors is 7 times x times y times y times y times y, which is equals to 7x squared y raised to the 4th. So it is its GCF. So step number 2, divide the polynomial by the GCF and the quotient is the other factor. So quantity 28x squared y raised to the 6 plus 63x squared y raised to the 4th z squared divided by 7x squared y raised to the 4th is equals to 4y squared plus 9z squared. So it is our quotient. And for step number 3, express the polynomial as the product of the quotient and the GCF. So we have 7x squared y raised to the 4th multiplied by quantity 4y squared plus 9z squared. So it is the factor form of the given binomial. So our answer is 7x squared y raised to the 4th multiplied by quantity 4y squared plus 9z squared. So let's check. If 28x squared y raised to the 6 plus 63x squared y raised to the 4z squared is equals to 7x squared y raised to the fourth times quantity 4y squared plus 9z squared. So using the distributive property, we will multiply 7x squared y raised to the fourth by 4y squared, which give us an answer of 28x squared y raised to the 6th. And multiply 7x squared y raised to the fourth to 9z squared, which is equals to 63x squared y raised to the fourth z squared. So meaning 28x squared y raised to the 6 plus 63x squared y raised to the fourth z squared as a factor form of 7x squared y raised to the fourth times quantity 4y squared plus 9z squared. Okay, number 4. Factor 15n raised to the fourth plus 5n squared minus 5. So remember, the factor of trinomial is equals to monomial times trinomial. So our answer should be 1 term multiplied by quantity 3 terms. So let's have the solution. So step 1, find the greatest common factor, GCF of all terms in the polynomial. So we have 3 terms. So 15n raised to the fourth, 5n squared, and negative 5. So 15n raised to the fourth is equals to 3 times 5 times n times n times n times n. And 5n squared is equals to 5 times n times n. And we have 5, which is equals to 5. So encircle all the common factors of between them. So we have the GCF, which is equals to 5. So step 2, divide the polynomial by the GCF and the quotient is the other factor. So quantity 15n raised to the fourth plus 5n squared minus 5 divided by 5 is equals to 3n raised to the fourth plus n squared minus 1. So it is our quotient. And step number 3, express the polynomial as the product of the quotient and the GCF. So we have the GCF and we have the quotient. So it will be written as 5 times quantity 3n raised to the fourth plus n squared minus 1. So it is the factor form of the given trinomial. So our answer is equals to 5 times quantity 3n raised to the fourth plus n squared minus 1. For our checking, so 15n raised to the fourth plus 5n squared minus 5. Let's check if it has a factor form of 5 times quantity 3n raised to the fourth plus n squared minus 1. So using the distributive property, we will multiply again 5 by 3n raised to the fourth, which is equals to 15n raised to the fourth. Then 5 multiplied by n squared is equals to 5n squared. And 5 times negative 1 is equals to negative 5. So meaning 15n raised to the 4 plus 5n squared minus 5 is equals to 5 times quantity 3n raised to the 4 plus n squared minus 1. Okay, number 5, factor 6a raised to the 7 plus 18a cubed minus 14a squared plus 2a. So we have 4 terms, so multinomial. So remember, the factor polynomial is equals to monomial times polynomial. So our answer should be 1 term multiplied by many terms. So let's have the solution. So find the greatest common factor of all terms in the polynomial. So we will get the factors of 6a raised to the 7, 18a cubed, 14a squared, and 2a. So 6a raised to the 7 is equals to 2 times 3 times a times a times a times a times a times a times a. 18a cubed is equals to 2 times 3 times 3 times a times a times a. 14a squared is equals to 2 times 7 times a times a. And 2a is equals to 2 times a. So let's encircle all the common factors between them. So they have two common factors, which is 2 and a. So 2 times a is equals to 2a. So 2a is its GCF. So step number 2, divide the polynomial by the GCF and the quotient is the other factor. So quantity 6a raised to the 7 plus 18a cubed minus 14a squared plus 2a divided by 2a is equals to 3a raised to the 6 plus 9a squared minus 7a plus 1. So it is our quotient. Step number 3, express the polynomial as the product of the quotient and the GCF. So we have the GCF, which is 2a, and we have the quotient, which is 3a raised to the 6 plus 9a squared minus 7a plus 1. So it could be written as 2a times quantity 3a raised to the 6 plus 9a squared minus 7a plus 1. So this is the factored form of the given polynomial. So our answer is 2a times quantity 3a raised to the 6 plus 9a squared minus 7a plus 1. For our checking, so 6a raised to the 7 plus 18a cubed minus 14a squared plus 2a has a factored form of 2a times quantity 3a raised to the 6 plus 9a squared minus 7a plus 1. So let's check if it is correct. So let's multiply. 2a times 3a raised to the 6 is equals to 6a raised to the 7. 2a multiplied to 9a squared is equals to 18a cubed. 2a multiplied by negative 7a is equals to negative 14a squared. And 2a times 1 is equals to 2a. So our answer is correct. Okay, now let's have an activity. So find the greatest common factor, GCF, of the following expression. Show your solution. Okay, another activity. Factor the following expressions. So show your solutions. And for your assignment, so factor completely. Show your solutions. So that's all for today. Thank you and goodbye.